Hello, beautiful humans. Hello, Earth family. Welcome, welcome, welcome to those of you that will be joining me here live over the next few minutes. Hi, excited to be chatting with you all today. And if you're catching this later as the replay, that's perfectly well too. Drop a hashtag of replay and let me know that you were here. And if you're new to me, welcome. I'm Lindsay Carricarte-Jones, and I'm a quantum healer, soul evolution, and soul embodiment coach. And I'm also a channel. And today I was just kind of sitting here going back and forth, navigating through some of my own stuff. And I'm going to share what happened with all that in a moment. But what really started to come through was that I needed to come online, and I needed to, as a coach and as a leader and as a projector and as someone who has many different perspectives and receives many different perspectives, I felt very deeply in my gut and in my heart that I needed to come on and have this conversation with you all. So hello to those of you that are joining me live. Honored and happy to see you. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know how things are going for you, right? Be present. Let's interact here. Hi, Boo. I'm glad you're here. Hello, Syed. And so what this is right now, for those of you that saw my live the other day, this is going to be a bit of a conversation that's part information that I've been channeling through today and receiving from some of my guides and our galactic allies, and some of it is my 2 cents on things and my perspective on things. So I would love to hear from those of you that are joining me here live, and hey, invite your friends if you feel like that they could benefit from this. How many of you are familiar with your human design? Just curious. I'm a projector, and if you are familiar with your human design, drop it in the comments and let me know what your HD is. I'm a projector, and what that means is that my aura reads. It penetrates out and it reads. And so I have an ability that is quite unique to projectors to be able to receive a lot of information, take the information within, and then kind of navigate to the better ways of doing things. And so, hey Carissa, I wanted to hop on here today, and I wanted to talk a little bit about, I wanted to speak to the various narratives and paradigms and things, right? Because we are being inundated with information right now. There's so much information out there. It can be very, very, very challenging to figure out what's true. What do I listen to, right? Carissa, I knew you were a manifesting generator. I just had that feeling about you, sister. Hey, everybody who else is just joining. Hey, let me know you guys are here. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. And so all of this information, because like I said, I'm a mental projector, and so I have this ability to sift and sort and gain perspectives from information. So I really feel that it's partly part of my duty, part of my mission, part of what I want to do through this time on planet Earth is to serve you all by offering perspectives that maybe you haven't found on your own, right? Maybe because there's so much stuff to navigate through, you're struggling to just figure out what's true, what's false, what's fake news, what's not fake news, what's propaganda, what's real, like what's an illusion, what's the bullshit. And first and foremost, as with anything I always say, even with everything that I'm sharing with you right now, take what serves and leaves the rest. If something I say lights up your heart and feels expansive and feels good, awesome. Take it, run with it, talk about it, integrate it, do whatever you want with it. If it doesn't, that's okay too, right? Because again, I'm not the end all be all. And something that was coming through really powerfully today, as I was really kind of observing what's going on in different parts of the world, is that I noticed myself, I started to have a very deep fear response in my gut. And I immediately knew, okay, I shouldn't have just watched that video. I didn't go into the video that I was watching mindfully. I didn't prepare myself. I was quite open and I went into it. And so I felt the fear paradigm. I felt the tentacles of the fear and the uncertainty and the panic and like, oh my God, is this what's happening? Come and just wrap themselves around my sacral chakra. And I sat with it. Because then the next thing I noticed was that I started to get angry, and I started to want to go into fight and rebellion. And that's when I pulled back and I sat back and I opened up my channel and I called upon my galactic guides, my galactic family, my higher self. And I started to ask, what am I supposed to do in all this? And what I want to share with you all today is what started to come through for all of this. And I really feel like it will serve many of you, okay? So stay with me. Because as I observed my initial reaction, right? I watched the video, I started to have the fear, then I started to get angry, and then I started to get righteous because that's not right, and they can't do this, and they're infringing upon our rights, right? They're passing laws, they're stripping away our liberties, look at what they're doing, look at what they're doing. And my initial response to that was, let me take to social media and go on a rant and see who I can go and convince. And then I was like, that's not going to serve, right? Because that's fighting. That's fighting the very timeline I don't want to feed energy to. And so what then I started to receive through my channel that I'm now going to relay to you all from my personal Syrian star family and my Pleiadian guides was that right now there are infinite possibilities available to us. Who here watched the last Avengers movie, right? When Doctor Strange has to look at all the timelines available and figure out the one way that they're going to be able to beat Thanos before he snaps his fingers, or the one way they're going to be able to beat him, and there's one out of all the timelines. And so right now there's no fixed destination. All timelines exist. And please trust me, right? You guys, I understand that some of what I'm talking about can be a bit of a mind fuck for the brain, right? It can be like, what? I can't even wrap my mind around that. And there's a lot of things coming up for us to look at right now that the brain does not want to wrap its mind around. The brain wants to look at it and say, no, that can't be true. That can't be accurate. Let's just push that over there. And every time I do go onto social media, what I see is people fighting over stuff that doesn't even fucking matter. Right? That doesn't even matter. And so the message that was coming through that I felt needed to be shared was that none of this is about observing what's going on, getting pissed off at it, and then going and trying to fight it. And okay, stay with me, because right there is where then the righteous and the people who want to fight it and the people who feel like it's their mission to fight the outcome they don't want start to get all uppity and say, well, what am I supposed to do? Nothing? What are we supposed to do? Nothing? No, right? What we're being asked to do is to take everything in that is going on and sit with it and integrate it and digest it and see what it brings up for you. And then make a personal, sovereign decision about what you want to experience. Okay? And this is where you'll hear people that are very familiar with manifestation and the law of attraction and, okay, I just won't give any attention to the timeline that I don't want to feed. That's all well and good. And I understand that that works for some people. My heart is with all of you who don't know how to do that yet, right? Because it's really easy for someone to say, just don't feed the timeline that you don't want to. However, if your root chakra is still enmeshed with some shadows and some fear, and that's not a point of saying like that's bad or wrong or something you should be ashamed of, right? We're all having to go in right now and purge out the areas of our root chakra, our sacral chakra, our solar plexus chakra, our third eye chakra, right? All of our chakras, and deconnect from the matrix, right? And that's very multi-layered. And so for me to sit here as a coach with the understandings that I have and say, well, just don't feed the timeline you don't want to create, don't pay attention to it, that didn't sit right with me. Because what came through when I sat down to channel was that not everybody knows how to do that yet. And so of course, I'm not here to save anybody. However, I'm a firm believer in one of the gifts of humanity being our ability to support one another and to nurture one another and to look out for one another and connect in ways and share our wisdom and our information amongst one another so that you can each take what serves you and leave the rest, right? Once upon a time, as we grew up on planet Earth, there were stories passed down from generation to generation to generation, right? And the stories kept alive the different wisdoms and the different points of connection and the different belief structures and, you know, bits of culture and all of these different things. And because the way that the world is now, and it's globalized, and most of us don't live where our ancestors come from, and we're very far removed, or, you know, like me, you're quite a mutt and you've got ancestors that come from very, very different parts of the world, and that would be very grounded in different cultures and stories. However, there's one truth that all cultures come back to, right? And that's the truth of connection. That's the truth of the power that comes from in here. That's the truth of the power that comes when a heart is open and two hearts connect, right? Just like Care Bears and humans coming together with open hearts. And because we're being asked to evolve right now, because we're evolving into fifth dimensional consciousness, we have to drop anything that's full of density and heaviness and the trauma and the pain, right? Because it's that those are the things that block us from being open at the heart and leading with the heart. So we all have a duty to go within and to unpack and unravel and deconstruct where we're still plugging into the matrix, right? Of course it's not easy per se or comfortable, right? It's quite uncomfortable. It can literally feel like your whole reality is being dissolved. And so the main point of what I was sitting with is, you know, what do I do, right? When I went in and I asked Care Bears, right, Christine? I called upon my guides and I was asking, you know, I don't understand, because I'm watching people fight amongst each other over, you know, in America, whether they're blue or they're red, and liberals are judging Trump supporters, and if people are out protesting that this is a violation of their civil rights, other people are immediately assuming that they must be crazy Trump supporters. And there's a lot of assumption, and there's a lot of labeling, and there's a lot of pigeonholing going on. And now I'm not talking about this to start another riotous conversation where everybody can start to argue. I'm just speaking about this just from a place of observation, where anything we see happening outside of us that we want to crush is not about the other people. We have to take that within ourselves and look at, why do I need to crush this? Why do I want to stamp this out? Why am I so afraid of this that I need to shut it down and judge it and label it and get... You see it all the time, right? I'm just, if you don't agree with me, block me. I'm gonna block you. Just get out of my news feed, right? There's this overwhelming thing happening where people cannot be presented with an opinion or a belief that doesn't align with their opinion or belief. It's like, if I just shutter myself in this bubble of people who believe the very same thing I do, I'll be safe. But that's actually not true, right? The idea, and stay with me because I understand this is a little bit all over the place. The idea that we are better off alone and safe and surrounded by the people who believe the very same things we do is one of the biggest points of division that the real enemies on the planet feed upon. And so even let's pull that view out a little bit more, right? Because from my perspective, when I see people arguing over, I'm a Democrat and you're a Republican and we can't be friends, I'm like, wow, are people still arguing about this stuff? Because I have a bigger perspective of battles that are playing out, right? And so Chris and I had an interesting conversation today because I came out and I was processing something and I was like, you know, I really need to talk through something. And I was like, so if I have the understanding that everything is source, literally everything in the universe is source, God, whatever you want to call it, God consciousness, that means the light is source and so is the darkness. That means good comes from source and so does evil. Now you can go upon that with whatever way you want to, that it becomes, right? And I said, so if I'm in that understanding, if I ground in to 3D reality and I just sit in that and pay no attention to what's going on and I don't share my perspectives about any of this, isn't that kind of bypassing? And, you know, his response was like, yes, it's truth, but we're down here in 3D now, right? We're down here as humans playing out this journey. So when we cling to that, we are in fact bypassing. It may be truth, but if we're using that truth to not look at what's happening right in front of our faces, then we're not serving. So I understand the desire and the want to be connected to your divinity and be connected to your creator. But what I see happening in the false light movement, a lot of the false light templates that have been embedded into a lot of light workers, is this idea, well, that I don't have to do anything because it's all God anyway. Well, if you didn't have to do anything, why the fuck did you incarnate here at this time, right? If you're such a powerful light worker and you're so spiritually advanced, why did you choose to incarnate into a third dimensional dualistic reality when the literal forces of you know, dark and light are rising up to be seen, to come into balance if you're not supposed to do anything? Right? He is a wise dude, boo. And so I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. And I was like, you're right. And I was like, that's why it has never felt okay with me, even though I know in my heart that everything is a part of our creator. Everything is a part of divinity. For me to sit back on my ass and not speak from my truth and share the information that I receive when I channel with my people, that doesn't do right by me. As a human, why did I come here if not to connect with my other humans and share and teach and lead and guide, right? And also be a student and learn continuously. And so as the world evolves and we're all evolving, the other piece of what was really coming through when I sat down to channel is that one of the things humans need to understand is there's no one coming to save us. We have galactic allies. We have powerful light beings that are assisting us to upgrade our light bodies, right? Expand our fields, upgrade our physical bodies, upgrade our mental bodies. There's so much support happening behind the scenes. However, this isn't like you're imprisoned and you're a victim and you're powerless and the extraterrestrials are going to swoop in and save us. This is about the ascension of the collective consciousness on planet Earth, which means each one of us has our own sovereign choice to make. And that brings me back around to what I was speaking about a few minutes ago, in that it is our duty to look at the information that we do not want to look at. And let me know if you guys are feeling this, or if you just are like, no. Let me know in the comments if any of this resonates with you. Give me a yes if any of this is resonating with you. Throw up some hearts. I love seeing the hearts. So it is our duty to take in everything, right? Especially the information that we want to shut down, especially the information that's like, nope, not that. And I'm not telling you have to take it in and believe it, right? But I am asking you to take it in and sit with it. Because let's just go there for a minute, right? Let's just what if. For everybody that is regurgitating the mass media narrative that the virus is this huge horrible thing that we all need to be afraid of and it's going to kill us all and vaccines are the answer and we have to get vaccines, right? If we want to go back to normal and that whole agenda, like, what if, have you stopped and asked yourself, what if it is all a lie, right? What if? And that's where I really encourage everybody to start, is by taking what you believe and saying, what if what I believe is false? And sitting with that. What if my beliefs are false? What if I have the wrong information? What if all of those people that my mind wants to say are crazy are actually onto something? Can you sit around and have a what if conversation? I'm with you, Rebecca. Like, there is no going back to normal. Like, that shit is because that ain't normal, right? And so, can you sit around and have a what if conversation with yourself? Or does my what ifing want to trigger? Like, does that trigger you? Right? And chances are most of you that are watching my stuff probably are open enough to have that conversation. But so, are you ready, willing, and able to have your paradigms challenged? Because that's how we evolve, right? Our very dense, controlled thought paradigms are what keep us anchored down here in the duality of 3D. And so with them, we can go to the other side, right? And stand all the way over here and say, well, what if the virus really is the thing that's going to kill us all? And what if it really is as bad as they say? What if they're saying what they're saying is true? What if? And what if the only way out of this is to really have a fully global government with digital implants and vaccines and them tracking and controlling us? So I don't know about you all, but that's not the world that this sovereign, divine fractal of divinity came to play in. I didn't come to play in a world where someone like Bill Gates has the power to tell me what I can or cannot inject into my body, and what I can or cannot do is based on what I will or won't inject into my body. And so that's my choice, right? That is my sovereign free choice as a divine being, as a divine, galactic, multidimensional, sovereign being. That is my fucking choice. And if it is your choice to go forth and engage with that timeline and stay on, then I bless you and I hope you enjoy it. That's my point, right? We're not here to save anybody else. None of us is here to play God or save anybody else. And none of us has all the answers that is going to work for anybody else, right? The only person that has all the answers that are going to be 100% accurate and aligned for you is you. Now, of course, right? I'm a coach. I'm a healer. I work with my coaches. I love my coaches. They offer me amazing perspectives and growth. However, I don't look to them for all of the answers in the end all be all. Other people I follow who are channels, Abraham Hicks, other people that I take information from, I don't look to them to give me the ultimate answers that are right for me. And that, my friends, right? That is what, when I was channeling earlier, was the message that wanted to be shared. This is about you stepping fully into, right? This isn't about whether or not you're going to get a fucking flu vaccine. This isn't about which timeline you're going to go on. This is about making the choice for yourself and not making the choice because someone else told you you have to, and someone else took away your power for the umpteenth thousandth time, for the fucking 10th lifetime in a row. Your power and your sovereignty got stripped away. And so the message that was wanting to come through so badly is to go within and to just stop taking the information from everyone else or fighting to convince everyone else to agree with you. It doesn't matter. Right? You guys feel that? Karen, chills. Whew. I'm feeling that, right? Doesn't matter. We're so fixated on what's playing out outside of us. Doesn't matter. And I don't mean that as a bypass, right? For anybody who wants to take that and run away with it as a bypass, okay, I don't have to do anything, right? No. However, when we click into our sovereign divine truth within us, then we can make a choice. Then we can receive what is the correct action for me to take right now, right? For me, the correct action isn't going out and protesting and ranting and going on rants and raving. For me, the correct action is sharing the information that I have come to understand in a way that people will receive it. Maybe a switch flips, maybe a seed is planted, maybe it doesn't. That's okay because it's your journey. I'm not here to control your journey. That's what sovereignty is about, right? So everything right now, including what we're seeing coming to light, right? Hollywood and elite pedophilia, all of the things, right? I'm not saying we fucking turn a blind eye and condone it, but can't you all see how every little piece of it, mandatory vaccines, elite pedophilia, like it's all about, those are the direct things that are the enemy of sovereignty. Can you think of a more graphic and horrible oppression of sovereignty than an adult who wants to fucking dominate a child? Than a man who wants to tell us what we have to put into our bodies based on a flu that may or may not be deadly? That's not sovereignty, right? That's like the extreme epitome of I'm a victim and I'm powerless and somebody else is in fucking charge of my life. And that, my friends, is what we're burning down right now. Because that is not who humans came here to be. That is not who you came here to be. Right? Every single one of you, I see you. You are a fucking beautiful fractal of divinity. You are a sovereign, galactic, multidimensional being. You came here for a reason. You're here at this time for a reason. Do you think that you incarnated at this time for a reason to sit back and be thrown in quarantine and get told by Bill fucking Gates what you have to put in your body? Do you think you came here to fight over being a Democrat or a Republican? Do you think you came to just sit and go within and be so spiritual you don't have to do anything? I doubt it, because if you were that spiritual, why incarnate in a world of duality, right? We're always going to have darkness and light. I'm not saying that we're going to go, fucking poof to a world that's all the love and light. That's false light too, right? The darkness that's being eradicated on the planet right now, right? It is not our individual responsibilities to go out and fight it, because fighting it feeds it. It is our individual responsibilities to observe, to see, to process, to take within and say, am I okay with this? Can I continue to live knowing that this is going on and supporting the people who do this? No, I can't. Okay, well then what do? Okay, I'm going to stop letting my money go here. I'm going to pull my power back from here. I'm going to go out and I'm going to vote. I'm going to speak about the things that matter, right? I'm going to teach. I'm going to lead. I'm going to guide. And more than anything else, I'm going to do my own fucking work internally so that I can anchor in a grounded frequency of love and understanding, a grounded and open place for people to be able to come and discuss and process free of judgment, right? Because that's the other thing, right? How do you think people get to the point where they can get pulled into the extreme imbalance of darkness that we're watching, right, Boo? We're not about eradicating, right? It's about balance. It's about balance. Healthy light needs healthy darkness, but guess where that has to come from? That has to come from within. So if we're all running around, shining our bright lights, trying to eradicate the evil forces of darkness that are playing out over there, we're not coming to balance. We're still just trying to stamp something out. So what do we need to do? We need to go within, and we need to get brutally honest with ourselves about where we have bought into the matrix. Where have we bought into the ease, the comfort of the slave grid? And not from a place of judging yourselves. Guys, we all have it, right? I caught myself in it the other day. Had to dismantle some shit. There was a part of me that was totally sold out. Oh, there's a problem. The government will fix it. They'll send us some money. And I was like, whoa, the idea that they're in charge of my flow of abundance, that's like not even in line with anything that I teach. Yet there was still that tiny little part of me down in my root chakra that was still plugged into that matrix. And I'm just being brutally honest with you all, guys, because I don't believe that any of our work is ever done. And that's why anybody who claims that all their work is done, that's quicker than nothing. I'm not following you anymore. Because that to me is just ego. So our work is continuously evolving, and please, even the even the brightest among us, right? Those of us who know in our hearts we're powerful and we're here to help change on the planet, we've all got darkness. Some darkness is normal. It's part of being dualistic in 3D, right? But it becomes about, where do we draw the line, right? Because when your darkness is so out of control that now you're taking away other people's freedoms and sovereignty, that's not what this is about, right? In balance, in flow, when we're connected to our divinity, we don't hurt one another. When we're connected, and thank you guys all for your comments too. I'll come back and read them when I'm done. When we're connected to our divinity, we don't rape and pillage the earth. We don't rape and pillage and exploit one another. We don't oppress and take advantage of the powerless. We don't turn a blind eye to someone being oppressed over there because it's easier for me to sit over here in my comfort. We don't, because we can't. Because when we're grounded in our divinity and we're open at the heart, we are one, right? And when we're one, how can I sit over here in comfort knowing that this is going on over there? I cannot, right? So we have to look at the very things that the mind wants to be like, no, that can't be a thing. And so the really big overlying piece of all of this is that every single one of us is going to be in a different place, and that's okay, right? But what I encourage you all to do is to find your people, right? Work with a coach, work with a healer, find your people that get you, that you feel safe enough to talk through stuff with, to process stuff with. Because processing the stuff, the thoughts, the feelings is so important at this time. If you're not processing the feelings and you're just shoving it all down and cementing over it with the mainstream media narrative, it's gonna get more painful for you. And so at any given moment, every single one of us has a choice to up-level to our next layer of sovereignty. And that's a journey. As in hindsight, I'm looking and I'm like, oh, I totally understand why everything that happened to me in the last 4 years had to happen, because it was preparing me for this. So what I offer to you all is to take that time and to play that what if game with yourself, right? Go within and ask yourself, what if? The ones that I don't believe. Look at what you're wanting to judge and shove away and not acknowledge, and bring it into your field. Invite it into your field. Because then this is what I do, right? So if you want help with this, reach out to me and we'll book an emotional alchemy session, right? I'm offering 1, 2, and 3 session packages, which is something I don't usually do, but I'm offering that at this time just because I feel like it will serve, right? Because it's much, much easier when you have a mirror and someone who is not bought into your bullshit to help you navigate through your bullshit, right? To offer you a new perspective. And of course, my guides play in that container as well. So that's just something, that's not what this is about, but that's just something that's available. You have resources. That's my point, right? There are resources all around you. Right, boo, hold it with softness. So that's what I leave you all with, right? For every one of you, the thing that is most, and I would love to hear in the comments from you all, if you feel like sharing one of the things that has stood out to you today or triggered you today, or one of the things that you noticed was a bit like, yeah, I don't like that, I want that to go away. Or where did you have judgment coming up on somebody, right? And then can you take that into your heart and hold it with softness, right? Because when I found myself judging the people who are just regurgitating the mainstream media narrative, for a split second, I wanted to get pissed, because I was like, yeah, sure, great. They just want to sell out all of our sovereignty and great for them. And then I was like, hold on, I practiced what I preached, right? I held it with softness. I held them with softness. I brought them into my heart. And what I immediately saw and felt was their fear and their programming. And you can't be in your heart and feel someone being in that without feeling compassion for them. Right? Now, I don't feel the need to save them because as an empath, I've done my work around that, right? I've rewritten my grids and my paradigms around that. I don't feel the need to save anybody anymore. And I don't take on their shit, right? So for those of you that are the empaths that are taking on everybody's shit, you're the ones who better be listening, who need this, right? You're the ones who should be hitting me up for that emotional alchemy session, right? Because we can shift this, we can change this. You can stand grounded powerfully in your truth and your ability to hold space and compassion for someone else's experience without trying to change it. What if we all could learn how to stop trying to control everybody else's experience, even if they're suffering? What if we respected everyone's sovereignty? And again, I don't mean that as we're all one, so let's bypass the darkness and the horrors that are playing out. Because I believe when we are all in that truth of sovereignty and divine connection, we don't hurt one another. Right? So the big piece of this is to drop out of your mind and into your hearts. Exactly, Rebecca. You can change the world, change lives without being a savior. Well said. So well said. And I'm going to come back on some of your comments. Just while I hope you guys enjoyed this. Give me a yes if you guys enjoyed this. If you learned something, I would love to hear what stood out to you or what you learned or what aha you had. Yep, exactly, boo. Totally being upgraded, and I'm witnessing it. And you guys, yeah, like that's just truth, right? Chris and I, we're married and we're witnessing each other's upgrades as we speak, right? I had the Syrians in my meditation the other night, upgrading my brain, clearing out old paradigms, slave grid paradigms in my brain. I could see it. It was like black stuff that they were just pulling out. They were upgrading my heart field. This is happening, you guys. It's happening. And this is what we get to play with. So if any of you do want to have an emotional alchemy session, it's not me, right? I'm at the channel. And so there's a lot of energetic and galactic and quantum work. And then of course we also do emotional work and mental work to bring the emotional, mental, and physical bodies along for the ride as well, right? Because we're multi-layered. Awesome. Oh, Rojo, thank you. I love to follow your evolution. Thank you. Karen, I love you too. I love your open perspective. Whoop, whoop. You guys are feeling this. Thank you. Yeah, exactly, Karen. I grew up in a family to ask the questions and come up with my own solutions. It's a good thing, right? It's called critical thinking. And so all of this, right? Yeah, Becca, right? The piece I've been missing, just allowing people to be okay with staying in the matrix while also still loving them. Huge, right? Because we just don't have to, we're not here to save anybody. We're here to have our own sovereign experience and evolution and empower ourselves. And as we do that, it spreads, and the things that need to be addressed will be addressed. They are being addressed. As long as we're shining light on them and openly talking about them and making sovereign decisions from a place of empowerment and not a place of fear. Anything made from a place of fear, from oppression, for trying to eradicate is only going to further expand that thing. If you're speaking from anger, you're expanding anger, right? If you're angry, you may have 1,000 reasons why you're angry or justified. That's okay. I'm not telling you you're wrong for it, but it is your responsibility to go and do the work around transmuting it and not just projecting it out into the world. Right, you guys? Project wisely. Don't project at all. Right? Be mindful of when you're projecting. There's a lot of wounds being triggered. And labeling and classifying and bunching people into groups is not the way. So I thank you guys so much for joining me. I thank, of course, my guides for the wisdom that was flowing through me. That some of it was not mine right now. I hope you enjoyed this. If you know somebody that would benefit from it, please don't hesitate to share it. Tag a friend. This is public. I don't mind if it's shared. Thank you guys all for hanging out with me. If anybody's interested in some emotional alchemy sessions, just send me a message and we'll talk about what that looks like. If you're not on my email list, go and get on there, and also come check out my YouTube, because I'll be doing a lot more on YouTube, activations and different chakra healings and stuff. So just lots of ways to connect and engage with what I'm doing. And you guys have a beautiful weekend. Be wildly you. Have it all. Remember, it's not about what's happening externally. It's about reclaiming and awakening sovereignty. So go and be the sovereign divine being that you were born to be. And I love you all.